right, Bob, the way the wind's been blowing your hair around is the same way it's been swirling down here on the infield all afternoon and into this evening as Mike Powell takes to the long jump runway for his first attempt in this World Championship final. Perhaps remembering some music lessons from when he was a child, dialing in on some concentration. What an epic battle we had to look forward to here between Powell and Carl Lewis, the man with a 65-meet consecutive winning streak. Powell for his first jump here. And he was stretching at the end of the board, and he knows it. Not a good effort. He looked like a 400-meter runner right the last 20 meters. He's looking up in the stands to check with his coach to see how he should adjust his steps, forward or back. It's awfully tough with the wind swirling like it has been. Look here, he's working so hard, and he's stretching at the end of the jump. Not what you want to do as a long jumper, and a very disappointing effort for Powell. 25.9 1/4. He wished he could have that one back. This is the man who has defined the long jump over the past 10 years. In 3 World Championships, he's only lost 1 competition. 4 years ago in Rome, he lost the 100 meters to Ben Johnson. He's twice defending long jump champion here, twice defending long jump champion in the Olympic Games. 65-meet consecutive winning streak in the long jump over 10.5 years. Carl Lewis, maybe the greatest ever in this event. And he wastes no time. A much better jump than Powell. Well out over 8.5 meters. That's sure to be over 28 feet. And he knew it was a good one as soon as he hit the board. What a contrast in styles, Lewis and Powell. Lewis obviously ready to sprint, as he proved with his 100-meter dash world record. As we checked the wind, there was no wind on that jump whatsoever. Carl is a sprinter on the long jump runway, as well as possessing outstanding jumping ability. Look at how he hits the board here so nicely. Hitch kicks into the pit. 28.5 3/4 on his first jump to take the lead, and we'll return with second round long jump action right after this. Welcome back to Tokyo. Dwight Stone's covering the men's long jump final, and Carl Lewis has put a mark out there for everyone to chase. 28.5 3/4 on his first attempt. He's obviously confident in his jumping ability here. Now Mike Powell on the runway for his second round jump. His first round jump terribly disappointing, 25.9 1/4. He has made some adjustments. Hopefully he'll be able to catch the wind blowing in the right direction here. He's got a lot of room to make up on Lewis, the man that he has been chasing. He's 0-15 with Lewis going back to 1983 in the long jump. Oh, and Powell, a much better jump there on the second round. Powell has said that he's been able to iron out his fouling problems. And he hit right on the board on that one, very close to the 28-foot area. Powell sprinting well here. He's a great jumper, not a great sprinter, but a great jumper. 7-1 high jumper, nice extension into the pit, and a much superior jump to the first one. 28 feet, a 1/4 inch for Powell. That puts him about 5.5 inches behind Lewis. He's got to be happy with that. Now Carl might know he's in a competition after seeing that jump from Powell. As you'll remember, back at the National Championships in New York in June, they fought it out round after round. This is Carl's second jump. He's the leader. Oh, and that looks like a foul, and a long one indeed. That looks over 28 feet 6 inches. Boy, he wishes he had that one back. Carl always flirting with the end of the board, about 3 inches over. That's a big foul for Lewis. He's often just a 1/2 inch off. So he looks into the stands to see what kind of information he can get from Tom Tellez, his coach, as to what adjustment he could make here. Lewis obviously never sprinting better with that 100-meter world record last weekend. Never looks down at the board and just barely fouls out around 28.5 feet. So he'll make the necessary adjustment to his step to compensate for the wind. And when we come back, more of this exciting battle. Stay tuned. Back in Tokyo with continuing coverage of the men's long jump final. This is Mike Powell on the runway for his third attempt. He's currently second behind Carl Lewis, who jumped 28.5 3/4 and was sitting next to the long jump runway a very interested spectator. I'm wondering if maybe he was trying to put a little psych on Mike Powell, but I don't think that Mike Powell is able to be psyched. He understands what it's going to take to beat Carl Lewis. He's jumped against him enough times over the last 8 years. Third jump for Powell. Ooh, and not a bad jump, but it doesn't look like it's an improvement. And he knows it. He checks it against the board that runs right next to the pit. Looking up in the stands to see what he needs to do. Allowable wind, just 0.9. Remember, the allowable is 2.0 meters per second. Powell sprinting nicely down the runway, but he checks up there. He stutter stepped, and that's what threw his rhythm all the way off. And he knows it. 27.2.5, not a bad jump, but certainly not an improvement. He's trying to figure out how much to move his step backwards or forwards. It's so critical in this event. His coach, Randy Huntington, in the stands trying to help him out with what to do with his mark. Now, Carl Lewis is on the runway for his third attempt. He is the current leader. It's not a real comfortable lead, though, just 5.5 inches over Powell. Uh-oh, big jump for Lewis. The most excited he's been so far in the competition. He didn't get this excited for his first round jump. Look at him sprinting down the runway. He is in the greatest shape of his life. Nails the board, and look at that. Very close to the world record marker. Even looks like he snuck a peek at the board. That's unheard of for Lewis. Look at this, a 1/2 inch to spare on the board. 28.11 3/4, but it's wind aided, just slightly over the allowable, and his mom, Evelyn Lewis, enjoying it in the stands. More long jump to come later, but when we return, the semifinals of the men's 1,500 meters.